Over the past year, I've worked and met with several Korean startups, and one thing I've been trying to figure out is why don't they celebrate? And I've also been thinking, why is that important? I want to start with first why it's important. As a business, businesses have to come up with goals, right? And so whether it's tied to their business goals, raise investments, whatever it is, you have to set the goal. Number two, you have to keep up the morale and you have to make people focused on that goal. Now, as they're going towards the goal, sometimes it's going to be a success. Sometimes there are going to be downtimes. It's pivotal for during those downtimes that team members still stay focused on the goal and don't get demoralized. Now, if you can do that by sheer will, just willpower, of staying positive and just working and grinding. But the other really strong way of keeping their morale up and allowing them to have the energy to continue, even when they feel down, is celebrating the wins. And the other important thing is part of celebrating is not just the rah-rah celebrating and having party hats and whatnot. When I say celebration, what I mean is genuinely thinking about what have we been able to accomplish until now. We may not have achieved the entire goal, but what have we learned so far? What difficulties did we face and how did we overcome them? To be honest about what we have been able to overcome, what we haven't been able to overcome. What I'm talking about is reflecting. It's taking the time to reflect and also acknowledge the good and the bad. As humans, we tend to psychologically focus on the negative, but in order to counteract that, we need to focus on the positive. So celebrating allows us to take the time to acknowledge what did we do well, because a lot of times we forget that. Now, I think most Korean companies don't really celebrate because they just have this tendency of jumping to the next task. It's almost, they're always just focused on the next task. They achieve a task, go to the next task, because that's kind of the way that they've always done life. But I think it's so important to really think and take a pause, look back and see what they've accomplished and celebrate it and be joyous. And what that does is it creates more resilience for the team. So whenever they face their next disruption or difficulty, they'll get through it. And whenever if you have two teams and one team has a celebration culture, they're more resilient. So at every difficult obstacle they face, they're able to overcome while the other team goes down and down and down. So over time, there's a huge gap between the two teams. So 3 practical steps that I got from Claire, which is great, to create a celebration culture is number 1, every morning, write down one thing that you're thankful for. That's it, just one thing that you're thankful for. Number 2, every day, create a journal of what did you do today? What did you feel today? What did you learn? And how are you going to apply those learnings in the future? And the third thing is to set a goal. If you have a quarterly goal, it's maybe too far. So have a goal for the next 2 weeks, something that you can attain and have it visual and mark it on the board. For example, talk with 30 customers in the next 3 weeks, something like that. And make it visual. Every time you talk to a customer, mark it off. And so if you do this, it helps you develop that muscle, because that muscle of celebrating, which requires reflecting and also acknowledging the things that we didn't do yet, but being happy about the things that we did, it's a muscle. It's something that you have to practice. So doing those little things daily helps you strengthen that muscle to celebrate. And overall, the impact on yourself as well as the organization is that it will make you and your organization much more resilient to difficulties. And plus, running a company is hard. So having someone who's optimistic and celebrating, it just helps a lot. Okay, peace.